BlackRock has acquired an incredible 108,000 Ethereum worth $300 million and 3,950 Bitcoin for $460.75 million. XRP holders, welcome back to the CryptoZex channel. Since our last update, a lot has transpired, so let's get in there and really examine and see what's going on. You should watch this through to the finish if you own XRP. All things considered, if you look at the last hour, we're seeing, a considerable amount of gain. If you look at the last 24 hours, you're seeing a significant amount of growth pretty much throughout the market. Something rather comparable is happening in front of us, even if you only look at the last hour as Friday morning approaches. The market appears to be extremely bullish at the moment. We certainly want to see what happens, but let's examine what has transpired with XRP and why now is such an exciting moment to be watching. Therefore, if you compare the price of Bitcoin to that of XRP, which is 2.58 and up 5.5% over the last 24 hours, we're down a little bit over the last 1 to 2 hours. We anticipate a pullback of roughly 0.6%. It's hard for me to comprehend that the valuation is at $152.5 billion and the 24-hour trading volume is at $6 billion. But first, as always, a brief disclaimer before we continue. This channel does not offer financial advice of any kind. Always conduct your own research and due diligence before making a cryptocurrency investment. According to Ander, it's already too late when it becomes clear to everyone. As a result, embrace the haters. You are aware of the unfavorable remarks that you frequently encounter, and you are also aware that these remarks typically occur during periods of significant market volatility. People are generally less hopeful, as you are aware, and as a content creator, I can attest to that. However, as the market begins to heat up, many people become quite excited, and we are beginning to observe that actually happening for us at the moment, right now. As you can see, they remind you that there is still time, and I wholeheartedly concur. Thus, we are essentially returning to the topic that we have been talking about for the longest period. As you are all aware, there is a well-known adage in the cryptocurrency space that goes, "Be greedy while others are fearful." You know, the folks who are doing well at the moment are the ones who were being avaricious when there was a lot of uncertainty in the crypto area. Since those are the ones that have been building up, you know that it is finally beginning to pay off. Just to refresh your memory, the US dollar has dropped 11% so far this year, making it the worst start to the year since 1973. Naturally, Bitcoin has increased about 55% since April, and it reaches a new record high, you know. As you may be aware, the DXY and Bitcoin have a negative connection, which means that when BTC rises, the DXY typically declines as well. Additionally, when DXY gains strength, the price of Bitcoin tends to remain relatively stable or even slightly decline. However, we must also pay attention to the long-term picture in the long run. Bitcoin has consistently outperformed the DXY over the long run. Furthermore, it is clear that there is a strong indication that this asset class is a true inflation hedge. We have the ideal example there in front of us. You can see that a major week is coming up. As you are aware, on July 14th, the U.S. House will kick off Crypto Week. You are aware of the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, the Genius Act, and the Clarity Act. This could be one of the most significant weeks in the history of cryptocurrency regulation, you know. And we are aware of that because if you truly comprehend the Genius Act, it is undoubtedly drawing more attention to stablecoins, but there is more to it than that. Crypto in general is experiencing a significant uptick in the right direction, which we are already witnessing. No TradeFi if you're looking at it. What I mean by that is that we're witnessing the financial services firms, brokerages, and other large institutions receiving approval from regulators to market cryptocurrency or begin participating in it. You are aware that certain well-known figures from the financial industry are entering the cryptocurrency space, and BlackRock is undoubtedly one of them. Franklin Templeton, you know, the list is endless. These large multi-trillion-dollar asset managers are rushing in because they know where the market is headed, and with these bills, you know, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, they're actually, you know, coming to pass. As a result, the U.S. would undoubtedly become the global center. Again, we can see that significant things are taking place, and we don't want to be ignoring that. And shout out to Smoke after rules are established. How soon can banks implement XRP-powered payments? This is something you can witness for yourself. Testing and complete implementation will take 2 to 3 months. In certain instances, it may take as little as 3 weeks for this to be implemented within the current financial services industry. This is how quickly things can change. And on top of that, Federal Reserve Governor Waller has stated that he wants a level playing field and that nothing is more disruptive or changing more quickly than the payment industry. Stablecoins will encourage competition in payments, which will force banks to compete. And that's already beginning to happen, all around the world. Many European banks are entering the market, developing their own platforms, and some are even beginning to provide their customers with cryptocurrency services. And it can just help us learn more and more about the actual direction we're heading. Additionally, you recall that we observed that BNY Global would serve as the RLUSD's primary reserve custodian. Special thanks to RE. According to RE, this collaboration with BNY Global not only improves RLUSD's operational transparency and adherence to regulations, but it also suggests that more institutions are using stable currencies, which could redefine their place in international banking. Important things. Let's now examine the current state of the pricing, though. As I mentioned in my last report, dominance did not exhibit any strength in this significant Bitcoin move that we witnessed. However, it is what we've seen. However, as you can see from our most recent update, there has been a slight gain in dominance. Not too wild. At 65.112%, we have yet to retest. However, there has been a slight increase. Why is that occurring, I wonder? As you are aware, Bitcoin saw a slight decline after reaching a new all-time high of 118,400. As you can see, we conducted another test on 1,075. However, it appears that things are starting to pick up once more. That is quite amazing for the larger market. Bitcoin is almost ready to break through to a new all-time high once more. Additionally, we might have already entered the price discovery mode when you were viewing this update, or earlier in the morning. Bitcoin doesn't appear to want to slow down, And as I've told you guys previously, I've been in the industry for a very long time, so the idea that we're getting close to $120,000 BTC is crazy for me to comprehend. As I'm going to tell you guys a story, I personally want to be honest. For example, let's travel back in time to 2015 or 2016. I wanted to buy myself something, and that I was clearly saving money. Naturally, my first cryptocurrency purchase was in 2016, but I apologize, I was actually saving money from my job in early 2016 and wanted to reward myself to a good car before I did so. Guys, at that time Bitcoin was trading at about $200, about 200 Turan, give or take, was about $0.